Do you often give up before you even begin? You're not alone. We're going to talk all about it. Stay tuned. That's what's up next. Hi, my name is Natasha Daniels. I'm a therapist. I make videos for people with anxiety or OCD. And today I'm going to talk to you about giving up before you even begin. And I'm not just talking about with your anxiety or OCD. I'm talking about everything in life. I'm talking about handling struggles and overcoming struggles, because life is a series of struggles. But before I get started, don't forget to subscribe, hit the bell so you get notified, because I do make new videos every Thursday. So how are you on the give up scale? Think about this for a second. When you're faced with a challenge, and that could be anything, it could be at school, you're doing work, or it could be at home, something on the computer, or even with your anxiety or OCD. Do you give up when you are faced with a struggle? Are you quick to say things like, it's too hard, I'll never get it, I'll never make it perfect, or I'll never be able to do it, or it's just impossible? Do you say things like that? We all say things like that in some moments, but there are a lot of people who feel that way whenever they're faced with any kind of challenge. I do feel like some of that is just part of our personality and how we're born, but I do also believe that we can always change and strengthen our ability to handle hard things. And so the way that I look at it is that life is a series of bumps, and that is part of life, that we're going to hit roadblocks, obstacles, challenges. You might be doing something, you might be doing schoolwork, or you might be doing something on a computer, or you might be doing something in your sport or extracurricular activity, and you just hit something that is just so hard. It might even be something like cleaning up your room, or doing a task, or doing the laundry, or doing the dishes, unrelated to anxiety and OCD. We'll talk about that in a second. But where you look at something and it just feels all consuming. Too hard. This is too hard. Or it's supposed to be easier and you're hitting a wall. The minute it gets rough, or the minute something unexpected happens, or the minute there's a challenge that's introduced into what you're doing, there's this feeling of, nope, I can't do it. Well, the first thing I want to help you work on is the stories that you tell yourself in your head. Are you a cheerleader for yourself, or are you a criticizer? We have voices in our heads that either say, you've got this, you can do it, or go take a break and then come back and do it again. And we have voices in our heads that say, this is too hard, this is impossible, it's too overwhelming, we're never going to get it doing, this is so painful, right? We want to foster this voice. You know, a lot of us don't have this positive cheerleading voice naturally in our brain. We have to encourage it. We have to force it for a little while. But I think the very first step is realizing that life is a series of bumps. And in between the bumps are these beautiful slides that we get to go enjoy and slide down. And then you're going to hit another bump. And then you're going to have this period of time where you're going down a slide. And that is life. And so when people have this idea that there are no bumps in life, that I'm just supposed to go down this amazing slide and I shouldn't hit anything, nothing should get in my way, they're going to be really surprised when they're like, whoa, ouch, what was that? That was a bump. I don't know how to get over this bump. This bump is too hard. This bump is too big. I can't handle this bump. And then you're worrying about the bump. You get over the bump, because we all have to get over the bumps, and you're going down the slide again. But now you're like, that was a really bad bump. And you're not enjoying the slide because you're consumed with how hard that bump was. Or you're worried about the next bump. Everything's going great and I'm sliding and this is great, but what about the next bump? I don't want to hit the next bump. And so once you understand and you say to yourself, life is a series of bumps and fun slides. And I really want to enjoy the slide. And so in order to enjoy life, I have to understand how to get through those bumps, because they're going to happen, so that I can really enjoy the slides. And the first step is recognizing that life is a series of bumps and challenges. We all have our challenges. They're different, they all look different, but we all have our challenges. How we handle those challenges will make such a difference in how we enjoy life. And so When you have a give up attitude, you feel the bump in such a strong way. You reject the bump. You don't want to see the bump. You ask everybody else to help you get over the bump. And before you know it, there's another bump. And you miss the slide in between, the joy in between. So first step is realizing that challenges are part of life. And so that when they happen, we're not like, why me? Why is this happening? This is too hard. Everyone else can do this and I can't. Nope, it's a bump. It's a bump for me. We all have our bumps. The second thing is, how am I going to handle these bumps? If I'm getting overwhelmed, do I need to take a step back, take a break? Do I need to breathe, do square breathing, or breathe in through my nose and out through my mouth, or touch my stomach and feel my stomach expanding and separate myself from the thing I'm trying to do for a little while, right? Because sometimes we can't walk away and take a break, but sometimes we can actually ground ourselves right here, right? And not focus on the thing at hand, but don't give up, right? Can you break it down into smaller sections? Can I do a few of this and then I'll come back, and then a few more and come back? Sometimes we can't in life, depending on what it is, but recognizing when you're overwhelmed, recognizing when you're overstressed, and doing something to calm yourself and step away, or take some breaths if you're not allowed to step away and then go back to it, that is really helpful. Also, what are you saying in your head? I often tell my kids, if they say I can't do it, I say, I guess you can't. Because if you tell yourself you can't do it, it's too hard, guess what? Your body, your brain, everything will feel it is too hard, right? If I'm saying to myself, this is too hard, then I'm like, oh, right? It's like when you're in a hot room and you're like, this is so hot, right? The more you focus on the heat, you're like, oh my gosh, I live in Phoenix, so it's very hot. But if you have a cheerleader, and it doesn't have to be a really strong cheerleader, it's just not this annoying critic, right? If you have a strong cheerleader, or a weak cheerleader even, that says, I can do this, right? I can give it my all, right? Even if I can't fully do it, or even if I can't make it perfect, I can give it my all. I'm not going to give up. I'm going to work on it one small step at a time. You got this. You can do this. Oh, you did that one thing. That's awesome. I know that doesn't come naturally for most people. I definitely didn't have a cheerleader in my brain, but I've fostered it and I've worked on it. And now I do have one that naturally pops up without me calling her and being like, hey, cheerleader, come on and help me, right? So work on that. What is the story you're telling yourself? What are the things you're telling yourself when you are feeling like you want to give up? This does relate to anxiety and OCD as well, because when you have a give up attitude, when you easily feel overwhelmed and then throw your hands up in the air, you're going to do that with anxiety and OCD too, because part of treatment, or even if you're doing it for yourself, part of the journey of anxiety and OCD is to learn how to do hard things, to sit with discomfort, to walk towards fear, one small step at a time. And when you feel overwhelmed and feel like you can't do anything, you're not going to have that resilience to be like, I can do this. I can do this. One small step at a time. So when you build up your ability to handle challenges, when you don't give up and you say, even if it doesn't turn out well, right? You're just like, I'm going to try this. I was trying to do something on the computer the other day. My son needed me to download something for his game, and he couldn't figure it out. And then I was like, I'll try to figure it out. And it took me 4 hours, and I was like determined. I'm like, I'm going to figure this out. And eventually I was like, it's a computer glitch or something. It's not working. And I still felt like I didn't give up. I felt like I was like really tried hard, and the end result was there's something wrong with this computer. I can't figure it out. But that's not a failure, because I felt like I gave it my all. So not giving up doesn't mean that you're always going to be successful. Not giving up means that you're going to try your hardest, and you're going to do things one small step at a time, to whatever conclusion that may be. There are great articles about successful, famous people who failed the first time or many times before they were famous. And so Google that, famous people who have failed before they succeeded, and you'll find these articles of all these famous people that completely failed before they succeeded. I think that's really important to recognize that success comes from failure. And not everybody who gives up is a perfectionist, but some are. And I think it's important that when we don't give up, opportunities happen. We can, crush our anxiety or OCD one small step at a time. We can reach new levels that we never reached before, and we can handle hard situations because we are in the grit and we learn how to handle the discomfort. So the next time you're faced with a challenge, which might be pretty soon, because we do have a lot of bumps in our life when it comes to the slide and the rocks and the bumps. When you are faced with your next challenge, maybe pause, remember this video if you are able to, and ask yourself, what would I normally do in this situation? And what can I do differently? What's the voice telling me? Is it positive or is it negative? Can I chime in with a positive? Can I take a break or can I ground myself? Can I cheerlead myself? Can I break this down into smaller tasks so I can feel successful? Anything you do that is different than what you normally do is progress. And it's progress, not perfection, that we're always striving for. I hope that you find the sparkle in everything you do, and I'll talk to you again next Thursday. Take care.